Hello, my dear professor and peers, and hello to other people watching this video too. In this presentation titled Parents at ELL, English Language Learning of Their Children, I'm going to talk about the role of parents in education policy, as many empirical studies of today show that parents are one of the main and focal actors of any education policy, especially of those that are related to foreign languages. So, as we are students of multilingual education program, I find, and I hope you do the same, I find this topic very useful and handy to know. I'm going to start from an explanation of language in education policy in Kazakhstan. After that, I will briefly cover the information about formal and informal social actors of policy. And after that, I will talk about the importance of parental involvement in their children's education. Trilingual integrated curriculum is a recent initiative of Kazakhstan that includes trilingual education. In brief, it requires school students to learn school subjects through three medium of instruction that are Kazakh, Russian, and English. And this is why all the three languages are introduced from the first grade. And there are also interesting and important factors to be mentioned. First is that English learning has been integrated into language education policy of the country, despite its having only 1% of population fluent in English as second language. And another fact, according to the plan of Ministry of Education, um, school graduates of Kazakhstan should become fluent in all three languages by 2050. And third point is that science subjects um, will be taught like uh, English language is included into the curriculum from the first grade to ensure that school students will be able to learn school science subjects through English medium of instruction in high grades. So, in addition, it is worth mentioning that many countries in the world are introducing English learning to their primary schools, and where most of the politicians uh, think and believe that English learning should be started as early as possible. And it's explained by English language's value uh, around the world and its benefits to the economy of the country. Our main actors of education policy are head teachers and teachers who are formal and parents who are informal. And according to Vignette and Pont, success of education policy is dependent on the main actors' attitudes towards education, their motivation and skills, and their reaction to the policy. And they also told that they also mentioned that uh, successful integration of the policy of the reform is possible only when all the main actors support the policy. When even one of them refuse its implementation, it can cause major issues in the process. And before these times, parents' roles were underestimated by educators, and there is no doubt that some teachers, even today, underestimate the invisible part of learning, uh, and policymakers should be keeping in mind this fact when they plan and implement any process. Uh, also, there are many empirical studies about role of parents in teaching, and most of them conclude that involvement of parents and their support in their children's ELL, English language learning, might affect their children's motivation to learn English language and succeed in its acquisition. Moreover, the studies on the influence of parents in ELL revealed that parents can impact directly and indirectly, In this way, Anas Hajar identifies three types of involvement. First is a positive, um, indirect kind of involvement, which entails verbal, uh, which entails just a moment, which entails verbal stimulation that encourages learners to learn the foreign language or paying for learning materials and tutorship. Second, positive, again positive, and direct kind of involvement, um, which refers to taking part in the learning process and communicating to develop fluency in English. And the third type is a neutral or negative kind of involvement, um, which involves action that hinder the children's learning of English. As example, it may involve parents' negative attitude towards the language, for example, the language of colonizer, or actions that do not support any kind of foreign language learning activities. As final thoughts, there are more important point to mention is that different levels of parental involvement, the different educational and social cultural backgrounds cause a big gap of inequity in ELL in Kazakhstan. Especially, in particular, this is the case of parents and their children in rural areas. So, fortunately, some researchers like Uspana Gaidarova, Ayazbaeva revealed, uh, provided deeper insights into rural parents' attitudes and challenges and new insights into their practical um, practices in assisting their children in English language learning. And it's true that by knowing the issue at the planning stage, the policymakers will create more rigorous and successful reform in the future. So this topic is really worth knowing and sharing. Thanks for watching, and there is a list of references. So thanks for watching again. That is it.